So on the bottom of the steering column, you have that little square button. There you go.
So this is electric.
It's
okay,
powered,
up
yeah.
and
So you
down.
can move it up and down as well as in and out if you want to telescope it towards you or away from you. The seat on the side, these are the 14-way seats, so you can move yourself around. The very front button does the under-knee extension, and the very back is a circular button for your lumbar
Up and
support.
down, yeah. So it's going down now. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of tall German people. Now we're talking.
Oh, careful, careful, the
What?
tripod's behind you.
Okay. I thought it was a little high. Okay.
And then your mirrors are on the left side by the window switches, so you can select the left or the right, a little bit lower, right there.
This one here, right?
So you can
Yeah,
select
so this
left
is
or right,
left,
and then
yeah.
you can move them around. So just select the mirror first. Just
oh,
below.
This is the lock. This
There
one
you
here.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
This is something else. This is locking.
Yeah, the top left is for the blind spot, lane change assist, and then the top right is to fold the mirrors in.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, so now basically, okay, you're good.
Yep.
You're filming. Okay.
All right. So if you want your heated wheels just on the back of the stock here, you're a little cold and you want that.
I'm sorry.
There's a little circular button on the back. There should be a little.
Here?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you press that, that should turn on the heated wheel.
Ah, okay. So that's
go.
important in an
Yep.
electric car. For
And then
sure.
if you did want the heated seats as well.
Oh, okay.
So do that
Alright.
press and we'll go to
Okay.
its third mode.
That one, and then. Okay, so now we have. Where's our range? The 3 kilometers is the electric range, right?
So what is showing up there right now is the 3-kilometer electric range. Ooh, where's my battery status? Someone might not have pressed start it. Start charging. So you see in the bottom left there of the dials, that's where I see the full battery charge.
So that's okay.
Just
So
below-
that's a percentage rise, right?
Just-
so
just
it's
below
30%.
50%.
30%. Yeah, 40%. But of course, it's showing 3 kilometers electric. If we turn off the, let's see what the difference the climate will make. Can we? Let's turn off the climate for a second. So now it's off. It doesn't seem to be affecting. There's no off button like in some other cars, right?
No
It's-
off button to defeat everything.
So you
No.
basically take the fan all the way down, and then it turns off the climate, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it still that doesn't seem to have an effect, but anyways, maybe because we're not driving, it'll probably adjust.
Yep.
Okay, so we're good to go.
And the other tack that's different, other than the green dials, of course, is the left side, right beside the RPMs. So what you see there is in the ready state. You'll feel on the pedal there's about 2 bridges there. So the first bridge is when you hit the top there between right around 30, where it says efficiency and you're going outside of the efficiency. You'll feel that bridge on the pedal that you're going to get to the end of the electric, and once you push past it, that's when the gas motor will
So
start.
as long as you stay within the green zone, you're driving pure electric pretty
Yeah.
much, and then it automatically
Well,
you'll hear it.
you'll feel that bridge on the pedal. That once you push past it, then the gasoline
So
motor
there
is
is
going to
there
kick
is a
in.
bit of like a resistance.
There's a
on
resistance on the
okay,
pedal,
okay.
and then on the top end, it should show
Yeah.
you as well too. Their little, is it red up there with a little
Yeah,
boost?
yeah.
Yeah, so you'll feel a second bridge going into the boost when you're, let's say when we go to Sport Plus mode and you're really on the throttle. That's when you'll feel a second bridge. So
So between the
the
100 and the max is the boost.
yeah, between I think it cuts off there at
So this is percentage of power band, right? This is
Yep.
not RPM. This is just
percentage
which
of
is
the power. Yeah,
okay, because the RPM is actually here.
right in the center.
This
yeah.
is the power band, and
and then
so this
below
battery
and then below the ready is where you have the charge. So when you're slowing down and braking, that's when
Okay, so recharge. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so this is your that's the RPM of the gasoline engine,
Yep.
the speedometer, and so this is a multifunction screen, right? So you can
Yep. So for us, the 2 relevant ones for e-mobility is the energy flow as well as e-power. So it's going to show you the battery charge as well as you start to drive, you'll see how that bar changes.
okay. Perfect. Yeah. So as long as we have heated seats and heated power wheel, that's we don't even need that much other. Okay. So now this is kind of the same probably
Same
as
as every
any
other
car.
Porsche, yeah.
Now we're in drive. Oh, it went into reverse. Oh, does it go in reverse even in drive or only in reverse gear?
No, we lingered on reverse gear for a second.
Oh, okay, so that's
then
why.
it turned it on, yeah. And
Oh,
even though
okay.
we're now in drive, we're still at low speed, so it's keeping it on just in case we're going back and forth into a spot, so it doesn't turn
Gotcha.
it right off.
Now, would the base SE Hybrid have, let's say, more standard equipment versus the base Panamera, or is it pretty much the same in terms of the optional equipment? It comes pretty naked, and then you have to pile
It's pretty
paint on it.
similar in terms of the rest of the Panamera lineup, in terms
Okay.
of the standard equipment on the car. There is some, obviously the e-mobility stuff is the
But in
different
terms of
equipment.
other equipment, it's all add-ons.
pretty much the
Okay,
same, yeah.
Okay. So this car, the parking sensors and the reverse camera is probably part of one of
An
the
option,
packages. Yeah. And the intelligent cruise control, I'm sure, is part of another tech
Yep, to get
package
the
probably.
Porsche Active Safe, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's keep rolling, I guess.
And you can see in the reflection there what the LED lights look like.
They are the
Yep.
new LEDs, right?
Yep.
The four in the corners.
Those are the 4 hot spots. And I'd say we'll make a right here. I've got a nice route of the neighborhood. So before the Ford, what were you driving before that?
I'm even a BMW.
Yeah.
I had the X1. I had a 7 Series before
We'll
that.
make a left up here.
So I'm still electric, right?
Still
but
electric.
it's now it feels weird to have the gears changing on an electric. Yeah, it definitely is very
A different sensation.
It almost feels like I'm almost on a gasoline engine, but I'm not. I'm still on electric.
So the different modes of the SE Hybrid, right now we're in the e-Power mode. So it's going to try to use electric as much as possible. As much as possible, right? You'll feel that if you do put more throttle input, like I said, you'll feel that bridge, and then you're going to start to feel the gasoline engine start up. The other modes it has are in the e-Charge mode, where it can run on the gasoline engine and work at the same time to charge the batteries. What I found in the summer is the last time I tried it, but to recharge the batteries completely on the e-Charge mode took me about 50 kilometers.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow!
Yeah, because we were going to an event a little bit towards Hamilton. And it was about 55k away, and I noticed by the time I got there, I was fully charged.
So
again.
so basically, do you have to put something in or program it to charge, or it always will charge when it's using the gasoline engine automatically?
No, so if you select the e-Charge mode on the
Oh,
side,
e-charge.
yeah,
Okay, so it's a special mode.
It's a special mode.
Otherwise, it just keeps the charge.
yeah. Otherwise, it will just keep charged and run the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
And
probably uses a little bit more gas.
It uses a little bit more gas, yeah.
but it charges the. It's good to have that option. I don't think any of the other plug-in hybrids have that option, so it's good good to have that option.
And then of course we have the Sport Plus modes that act just like the other Panameras with the gasoline engines, where Sport mode is making the transmission a little bit more aggressive, lets you rev higher before changing gears. Your changes come a little bit faster. And then the Sport Plus, where everything revs all the way up to the red line, very harsh gear changes, and it backs off the stability control a little bit. And we'll make that right up here.
And so basically, it also uses the electric as a boost.
As a
right?
boost in those
So
modes,
both
yeah.
the turbo, because this is basically the S4 engine, right? This is the 333 horsepower S4 engine, but it uses the turbo, but it also uses the electrical for overboost, basically, right? So now we're hearing basically the electric
Just the
motor
electric
changing
motor
gears.
one, yeah.
Very
We'll make
discreet.
that right up here.
Very discreet.
Yeah, both me and Hans were very impressed coming from Tesla about how that felt
Yeah,
to us, right?
it's
'Cause-
very strange. This is the first time.
He was privileged enough to try the first Roadsters with the 2-gear gearbox to
Mm-hmm.
see what he thought. Where I was always accustomed to the Model S and the late Roadsters that were all the single gear.
So this one, in terms of the actual, the way the drives are done, the Cayenne is a little different because the Cayenne drives different wheels, right? Or is the mechanics are very similar between this and the Cayenne?
They're very close. The biggest difference when I'm driving the two that I feel is just the PDK on this one versus the Tiptronic in the Cayenne.
So now the engine kicked in.
Now the
basically,
engine
because I
kicked in.
went just beyond the green
Yeah.
zone.
And it might be also getting a little bit lower. In
Lower.
The charge, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
because
it's
maybe
cold,
yeah, exactly.
So what I'll do is I'll put into the e-charge mode, so we can see
Perfect.
now it's
On-
showing us that it's sending everything
Back to the battery.
yeah, back to the battery and also from the engine to charge the battery.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And how long ago did you try out the Tesla?
I tried the regular P85. Must have been that's my best, the highest number of views on YouTube. But it was a couple of years ago. I have over 1,000 views on that one. And today we're going to be doing the P85D, so it's going to be another different experience with the all-wheel drive and 700 horsepower on tap, I guess.
I was able to go by on Sunday to try it out there.
Oh yeah? Well, they on YouTube I posted on our page the.
I'll make that right up here.
Right here.
Yep.
So they posted the P85D against the Aventador, and the first, I don't know, 30 meters and 50 meters, it was the Tesla was ahead. It's only caught up. The
Yeah, once
Aventador caught
once the
up.
Aventador can get into its higher RPM range, that's when it can really put the power down. But before then, the Tesla, off the line, there's very few cars that can get close to it. Then we'll make a right up here.
Local cup meeting
Yep.
usually happens in those areas. So it's an e-charge, so it's gonna recharging.
Yeah, so you can feel a little bit of hesitation on the
Yeah,
motor
yeah.
when it's dragging on there. If I do try to put it back in e-power, it will tell you up there e-power.
E-power not possible. That's right,
Yeah.
because we used up the. How much more weight does the plug-in hybrid system add to a Panamera, for example? Do you know?
I believe all the equipment together added close to 400 pounds.
400 pounds.
Yeah.
Tesla itself is a very heavy car as well. It's like 2.5 tons, right?
Tesla's
Yeah.
a very heavy car.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't feel as much in that car because of the weight distribution. And same thing with this car. You do have obviously your gasoline engine up front, and then you have the batteries in the back, so it is kind of bouncing out a little bit. And like any Porsche, we're trying to keep that weight nice and low for performance and cornering. So I threw in the sport mode, so you already feel that it's revving a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I also put the suspension into its sportier setting, so it's a little bit harder if I hit it again. You're going to go all the way, and now you're going to really feel the bumps in the road.
Yeah. Sport glass chassis selected, yeah. It warns you of.
It warns you of what's
Yeah.
going on there.
So it's an 8-speed dual clutch, is it?
8-speed, and sorry, I got my transmissions confused. The e-hybrid is actually the Tiptronic as well.
Tiptronic.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is dual clutch, right?
No, the Tiptronic was still a single clutch. The PDK,
single clutch.
the PDK is our double
PDK
clutch.
is a
Yeah.
double clutch. Okay.
Yeah, when the new hybrid, the hybrid came out, we looked at it and said, okay, we're going to have our Tiptronic transmission from the Cayenne and only rear-wheel drive Panamera.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like in an SUV, you want it to be able to drive.
Yeah,
But basically, the mechanics are very similar, right?
very similar. And then we'll make a right up here.
Right. Yeah.
Right up. And I'm hoping sometime in the future we'll be able to see, like you mentioned, you'd like to see it in the Macan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Macan. I personally drive a little Cayman S, and I'd love to have a little electric
a little SUV.
electric motor in my Cayman S for a little bit of boost coming out of corners, which would be an off the line.
Absolutely.
And then we'll take a right here and go on the highway. It's a nice little highway bit since you can really accelerate because there's no lane cut off. What I'll do here once you get is I'll put it in Sport Plus mode. So now the throttle response will be sharper. We'll let you rev up a lot higher before changing gears. So I say if you don't have anyone behind you, lift off the throttle a little bit. Give yourself a little bit more room. That way you can accelerate.
I'll just give it a go.
So can you feel the boost that getting into there at the top? Yeah. Did you feel the second bridge in the
That's
pedal?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
When people first drive this car for the first time, they can feel that bridge. They're not exactly sure what they're
And
feeling.
the region braking now. The region braking is there different modes? Do you have like an L mode or a B mode for stronger region, or is it just a single level
They're
region?
just a single level
Single level.
region, yeah.
Okay.
On the Model S, you have that adjustability between
So
the
exit abrupt
region.
in here?
Yeah, we can exit abrupt in there. And you have that adjustability in the Model S, but in the Panamera, just one level of region.
Yeah, most of the other electrics have only the two modes, the DNL or DNB or DNG or whatever. The Tesla had a totally adjustable, like, you know, there was a sliding thing right on the screen where you could adjust any level you wanted. At the i3, there is no adjustment, and I find it's almost too hard.
It's too aggressive.
Yeah,
it
too
feels
aggressive.
it feels like a very almost you're grabbing two gears
and
in a gasoline
to a point
engine.
where it could be dangerous because nobody could really answer the question. You'd have to be driving behind it and be on the phone to see if it actually has if
the brake lights
if the
come
brake
on.
lights come on or not.
In the Model S, there was a
Point.
a threshold
Yeah, that's right.
with G's to turn the rear brake lights on.
Which makes sense. So with the i3, I don't. Maybe they will change it. Maybe this is one of the things that the owners have requested, that they want to have
A less aggressive regen braking.
or just different
Rather
modes.
than an ability to tone it down a little bit if they find it
exactly.
too harsh.
I mean, it's fun to be single pedal driving, but it can be dangerous if you have somebody pulling you
Coming
too
behind
closely.
you and
Yeah.
you lift off the pedal and suddenly you're being dragged. I always felt like it's dragging you down on the regen.
It's a little too strong. Engine consumption. So that this engine off level.
So you could feel it get us off the line.
Yeah,
With the electric and
the
then switch
electric
over to
and then
gas.
it kicks in. Now I'm below the. Not possible. Yeah, that's because we're out of range.
Yeah, for next year, Porsche is really putting a big focus on the hybrid models. They are set for the Cayenne, the proportion of Cayenne that we're getting. We are getting a very high percentage of those coming in will be the hybrids.
And I think they will phase out the regular hybrids because it just makes sense.
Oh, the regular
right?
hybrids are gone.
They're gone,
Yep. The hybrid is a much better system,
Yeah.
and for the owners as well too, to be able to take
Plug-in.
advantage of the plugins, the rebates in Ontario, the green plate as well.
And then
There's more advantages to the car.
that, and a lot of cities in Europe now they have congestion charges or whatever, so you have a lot of privileges. We don't see them here not
Yeah.
yet, but it's just a question of time. Eventually, we'll probably see free parking and
Yep. And my
access.
fingers are crossed that they're going to extend the HOV lane access beyond. I think it's 2015 is when it's supposed to be.
Expired,
So,
yeah. Yeah, that's a big advantage as well for sure. Be able to, Californians love it. That's why they're.
A lot of people will go and buy that car over another car because of the HOV lane
HOV
access.
lane access, yeah.
I mean, if you're someone who even lives in Oakville or you take the 404 often or the 403, it just makes sense as a commuter here to have something that's a plug-in hybrid or full electric vehicle. And there's some Porsche models that like the RSR, the Boxster, the hybrid that they had running that I'd like to see some of the RSR with its. Have you seen it? The pictures of the passenger seat?
No,
Where
no.
The RSR is set up and it's a basically an electric spindle boost. So they keep in the passenger seat and it builds up the electric power
Oh,
for boost, and then they hit like almost like a nitrous spine that you see at Fast and Furious on the steering wheel
Wow.
on their RSR race car, and then they get the electric boost out of the car. So that's a really interesting thing that I'd like to see one day in the sports cars. So imagine if I have a Cayman, like I mentioned, in the front trunk, if I could sacrifice a little bit to have an
That's
electric
right.
motor
Yeah.
or some batteries to send some boost to the rear with a little boost button, I'd be fine adding a tiny bit of weight as long as it didn't mess up the balance of the
exactly.
vehicle.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, so it was an interesting experience to see that electric motor going through the gears. Definitely, it's not unlike any other electric car for sure. So once it's fully charged, then you can enjoy that for the official range is 35, I think, right?
35. When
Yeah.
Hans was driving this last year quite a bit, this was his car, he did the black wrap on the roof that he liked, the aesthetic look of. He was usually getting in between anywhere from 20 through 27 in the summer with him driving the normal.
But with the climate,
With
and
the
everything
climate,
on.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So to get the maximum range, you have to basically drive with
With
the
nothing,
radio,
yeah.
of course, but no climate controls. Basically, you had to. Otherwise, you cut it down for sure. Oh, there's another SE Hybrid. That's a client's, or that's another?
No,
one of
that's
your own?
another one. So we try to use these for shuttles as much as possible
Nice, so that
For-
you can get people to experience
to
it.
experience them. Yeah,
for you.
and for us, it's actually a little bit advantageous because we can. Usually, we're plugging them in here when I'm thinking that someone took this out this morning to drop a customer off. So what usually happens is, let's say someone comes in to drop off their car and get their winter tire swapped, and we need to take them back home or back to their office for a few hours. So what's easy for us is we can take them back home or to their office, almost on all electric. And if they're in Oakville, we can usually do the trip in all electric.
Nice.
But on the way back, the mobility drivers can come back by themselves in the HOV lane, so it saves us time as well.
And I'm sure a lot of the Porsche owners are not even aware that
Aware of
Porsche
it, yep.
that it even exists, right?
So our first reason why we put these as cars is, like you said, to get people to understand and to try them out. So when people had the option of taking home a Cayenne or a Panamera SE hybrid, a lot of people said, yeah, I'd love to try out the Panamera to experience what the hybrid feels like. And we've had a couple of those people. One guy traded in his 911 and his Cayenne GTS to get a Cayenne hybrid. He picked it up last weekend.
Really?
Yeah, because after he experienced this car, he said, you know what, this is pretty cool. And he started doing some research and looking at where he worked and the HOV lane access, how much it's going to cost him to charge. And he said, you know what, it makes sense. So you put
Makes
a
sense, yeah.
charger at home and at work.
Yeah, and I think it's the plug-in hybrid market will explode in the next few years among all the luxury brands, and it's just the way to go.
Yeah.
Basically. So no, this is amazing, and once you do have one of the Cayenne plug-in hybrids in as well, hopefully you'll keep maybe one in the future for drives. We would love to come back and
And for sure.
try the system on the Cayenne as well. That would be amazing. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. I'll
Thank
come show you the 918 before we
Okay,
go. Yeah.
fantastic. Looking forward to it. So the off to just
And then turning it to the left.
done.
That's it.
Okay, perfect.